Good afternoon, dear organizers, dear audience. Thank you for this opportunity. I will switch now to coastal areas and particularly to sediment processes on the coast. And I will present some of the newest results on quantification of longshore sediment transport and compartments in the urban areas. And case study is about shores of Tallinn and areas vicinity. Anthropogenic structures, as we all know, exert diverse effects on coastal environments and often disrupting or altering the nearshore natural seascapes. And the impact of these interventions on coastal systems reaches to dramatic level when a source or a major pathway of sediment is affected. This work lies on the possibilities to systematically identify single littoral drift cells in sedimentary compartments in the urbanized areas with complicated geometry. And this approach serves an important tool in engineering and coastal management decisions for sustainable coastal planning and hopefully preventing some bad planning and decisions in coastal areas. The study area is the nearshore of Tallinn Bay. It's located on the southern coast of the Gulf of Finland, Baltic Sea. This region hosts a specific bidirectional wind and wave climate. Prevailing waves are from west, but the most severe storms in the year often tend to occur from northwest directions. And the area or the coastline in the study area, the orientation of that varies considerably. That makes the things more difficult. To identify these main sediment compartments, we have employed widely used CERC method to estimate wave-driven longshore sediment transport. And here we have utilized the common wave parameters such as significant wave height, period, and wave direction. And now to estimate this sediment transport, longshore sediment transport driven by waves, we have utilized three different wave statistics derived from three different wind datasets. These datasets were applied to the grids with varying spatial resolution and also different model configurations. The one model with resolution 470 meters was run for the 1-point marine winds measured in Kalbada-Grunda. And the other wind datasets, ERA 5 and Balton 65, were used for the higher resolution grid, and SWAN model was used. These wave datasets were calculated by other colleagues. And these theoretical estimations of the potential sediment transport were partially and qualitatively validated against detailed surveys on the changes on dry beach on the major accumulation areas in Rusalka and Pirita Beach. Detailed surveys were relied on the high-resolution LiDAR measurements for 12 years. And now, once again, to emphasize the core idea of this study is the longshore sediment transport pattern and littoral cells. And if we now observe the results based on these three different input datasets, first what we can notice that different datasets lead to almost identical patterns along the study area. The largest long-term average longshore sediment transport occur headlands, which is expected, and in the interior of Tallinn Bay. the sediment transport rates are by an order of magnitude smaller compared to the coastal areas more to the west. And you highlight here that this one set of estimates produced using this simplified scheme for evaluating the wave properties and the wave model WAM, and this 1-point wind, still follow reasonably the longshore variations of the sediment transport. And they also give the similar results for the interior of Tallinn Bay as simulations using model winds by ERA 5 and Baltic 65. The variance between two distinct wave datasets applied to this ERA 5 and Baltic 65 applied to the identical grid and model configuration is limited to the maximum difference of about only 15% for entire study area. And these two projections of bulk transport almost coincide most of the study area. This feature, I think this suggests good consistency in these wind data that drive the predominant wave system that drive the majority of the annual sediment transport. The ratio of the annual net and bulk transport provides information about the direction how the sediments are moving of the littoral drift. And most of the study area, this littoral drift is predominantly counterclockwise, aligning with the anisotropy of the wave and the wave fields in the regions. There are also few exceptions. These occur west of the Kakumäe point, also in the interior of Tallinn Bay, Kopli Point, but these exceptions are mainly due to the different orientation of these coastal segments. And in the southern part of Tallinn Bay, this area hosts littoral drift with varying directions. And this leads to the formation of distinct small littoral drift cells in that one sediment compartment. The pattern of potential net sediment transport along the study area allows for us at least first approximation to identify the main littoral cells. The zero crossing marked as yellow circles, they indicate the convergence areas of sediment flux. In the nature, we can see those as sandy beaches or where the sediments are accumulating. And the zero upcrossing points, these reflect the divergence regions, and also they can be considered as borders between the neighboring sediment compartments. The sediments are moving from that point to different directions. And these points, over the period of interest we have considered, they have stayed stable, and these points on these theoretical calculations, they actually match with the major headlands and interiors of bays. And now to summarize all these results, this is illustrative scheme of the main sediment compartments in the study area. We can notice that the major headlands such as Kakumäe, Kopli and Paljassaare divide the sedimentary system into practically isolated sediment compartments. There is these four main sediment compartments with typical size of 10 kilometers. The interesting part or interesting cell in that figure is this Tallinn Bay sediment compartment that hosts a complicated pattern of net transport, and it is extensively interrupted by several engineering structures. And one interesting finding of this study was that in this coastal section from Rusalka to Pirita harbor, it's a straight coastline. One invisible divergence point appeared in that area. So why I'm stressing that is usually we wouldn't expect that that divergence point occurs in straight coastal area. But this became visible here, and this impact of the stable divergence point on the more to the north on the picture becomes evident of the accumulation area near Rusalka monument. And that this Rusalka area is like accumulating or at least stable. This is confirmed by the high resolution measurements on the dry beach. We can notice that over the 10 years, this beach area or accumulation area has been stable, or even some parts maybe has increased height, sand height, beach height. And the other major accumulation area is in the southern part of Tallinn Bay is Pirita. The same story here. This beach area has been stable. There has been a slight increase of sediments over 12 years. However, here, the estimations, these theoretical estimations of longshore sediment transport reflect a strong longshore transport in the northern part of Pirita beach, which in theory should mean that this area should suffer at least some extent to the erosion, but this is not the case in Pirita. What keeps this beach area stable across the entire length seems to be the combination of two wave systems. The infrequent strong storms with high waves occur together with high sea level, and they transport sediments towards south. And in normal conditions, when the low waves occur and the sea level is not high, these waves are able to transport back the sediments to the north and therefore stabilizing effectively the northern part of Pirita beach. I think it's important here to mention that for this complicated geometry, these individual coastal areas, if you want to have detailed understanding how the beach is functioning, we really need to incorporate wave and sea level information, and even more how different wave systems interact with the background sea level. And some conclusions. The sedimentary system on northern shore of Estonia is naturally divided into almost isolated littoral drift cells. These cells are often represent one bay that is deeply cut into mainland, and these sediment compartments are separated by major headlands. The set of man-made structures generates additional division of the system into subcells, and a stable point of divergence of wave-driven net sediment transport exists in almost straight coastal section on the southern coast of Tallinn Bay. Thank you.
So, any questions to Maris? So, I can. Okay, please. The microphone is coming. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. Thank you very much. Okay. So this model of yours, it is not taking into account the sediment grain size or the sediment availability. It's based only on wave dynamics.
Basically, yes.
All right. So everywhere where you can see the convergence point there is actually accumulation of sands and the beaches.
In our study area, yes, these convergence zones are matching with actual beaches or bay heads where the sediments tend to accumulate.
All right.
So these theoretical estimations match with reality. So that gives like good results that we can at least have this idea where the sediments inside what location they are moving.
Mm-hmm. And what is your next area where you're gonna apply this model?
Next area will be presented by the
next
presenter.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I totally agree with very interesting work.
Thank you.
One question about, I have a story when I come to my presentation about climate change. So what might the climate change affect? We have maybe more waves, different waves. Any idea? Anybody have done any work about what?
No, there are not work yet about this sediment transport, but if there will be changes in the directionality in wave systems, it definitely affects sediment transport, and these points of divergence and convergence, they may shift to other place, and we will see totally changing dynamic in coastal areas.
Yeah. And there's nothing actually, not much we can do, I assume.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.